Hello, basketball fans. It's me, DC, here for Fantasy Basketball Analyzer to help you get ready for week 9 of your fantasy season, your fantasy basketball season. I like to just say it's the NBA's week 9 too, because at some point in All-Star break it switches and I have to differentiate. Anyway, we're going to start off like we always do by looking at pace, defensive efficiency, the weekly schedule, help you get an edge there based on games played and when they're played, figure out which teams have the most quality games that you can really attack. And then we're going to take that info and look at the waiver wire for who you should pick up. I'm noticing a funny glare on my eyes. Do you guys see it? I might have to ditch these. All right, let's get into it. There are no major changes for the pace and defensive efficiency. I'm pulling defensive efficiency from Cleaning the Glass. I want to give them credit where it's due. If you look up top, San Antonio, Detroit, Houston, there are no changes here that we need to speak of. So we just take these numbers, rather than me babble on, and we apply them to the weekly schedule. First thing that should jump out at you is that Philly only has 2 games. So weekly lock leagues, be careful there. You might still want to use Embiid. He's playing well now that he's back. Harden as well. But be careful, especially because if one of them misses a game and you've locked him in for 1 week, that's a problem. Otherwise, 11 teams have 4 games. The remaining 18 teams has 3 games. So be a little careful here. With only 11 teams having 4 games, you can get an edge if you are playing a team with 4 games. Although, when we talk about quality games, a lot of the 3-game weeks have the best schedules if you're in a daily change league. So it depends on how you're using them. For next week, Christmas falls in the week 10 of the NBA schedule. It's the end of the week, which there's definitely NBA games on Christmas. It's a big day in the league, right? But that means Christmas Eve, that Saturday, there are no games at all. It's also worth noting that Thursday, I think there are only 2 games. So you want to be careful here. We've got Brooklyn, Indy, the Clippers, and Miami only with 2 games each next week. So think about that when you're making pickups at the end of the week. And then I also mentioned, and we'll talk about it in next week's video, but just to get a head start on it, Thursday, when there's only 2 games, which is a very high quality game. And again, we're talking next week, week 10. I'm just giving you a little nudge because it's going to come up later when we talk about streaming. New Orleans, Spurs, Washington, and Utah are the 4 teams playing on that special limited day. And since they're the only ones playing there and there's a whole day of Saturday, you're not getting any games. Those are going to be extra valuable, in my opinion. Washington and Utah in particular, when we see their schedules, but give a little edge. And this is going to come up as we talk about streaming. But first, we want to talk about back-to-backs. So for the back-to-back schedule, if you're trying to attack something, you have an option every day of the week, except for the Thursday rolling into Friday. So Boston's got the Monday, Tuesday. Golden State's got the Tuesday, Wednesday. So does Sacramento, et cetera, et cetera. You can take a look at Washington. I want to make note of that. They have the back-to-back to end the week. So if you're trying to do a little push, a single pickup on Friday after the games to get 2 games for 1 move, give Washington a look, especially because I mentioned them already on the last panel, if you didn't fast forward through that, when I was talking about next week. They have a very high-quality game there, just based on how the schedule works out. So I'm going to advise later when we talk about waivers, picking up some Washington guys at the end of the week if you can. For our concerns for back-to-back, Golden State does have a back-to-back. They're both on the road. I wouldn't be shocked if Clay sits or something. They got Bucks where we would assume they'd be full strength unless they're punting. Indy, maybe they mess around there, although Indy just came into Golden State and chewed them up the other week. So we'll see, but there is a back-to-back there. You might get some rest. Boston, yeah, they've got a back-to-back, and it's a little interesting. Like I said, it's the start of the week. They're both in LA. They probably won't be resting anyone, but Al Horford's already been out. Also, let's mention now, I'll mention with the waiver wire, but Robert Williams is trying to come back soon. Take a look at your waiver wire. He's like 83% rostered. I don't have the number right in front of me right now. I'll have it later in the video. But if he's out there, scoop him up. I don't know if he's going to appear in these road games, but keep a lookout. Robert Williams might be coming back, and he's available in about 20% of leagues. Otherwise, for back-to-back concerns, Clippers and Miami each have a back-to-back, and those are teams that regularly rest guys, so just keep an eye on that. Check your lineups as they go. For streaming, it's a fun week this week. If you take a look here down at the bottom, we got Monday with 7 games, Tuesday with 5, Wednesday 10, Thursday 4, Friday 10, Saturday and Sunday both with 7. So it's really just Wednesday and Friday we want to avoid. With those 10 games, you're probably not getting a lot of guys off the bench. But the Tuesday and Thursday 5 and 4 games are really valuable, which means that there's a lot of ways we can work this schedule. So if the Utah Jazz shirt didn't give it away, the Jazz, I think, have one of the best schedule, but they're basically tied with the whole pack here. So if we look at the Jazz, they got Pelicans, Bucks. They play both the Tuesday, Thursday. That's really, if you have limited pickups, I want you to pick up someone that's a good player, first and foremost, but preferably if they can play both Tuesday and Thursday, you're definitely going to get them into your lineup. It doesn't make sense to pick up someone up who's got Wednesday, Friday, and they're going to be sitting on your bench, right? So along with Utah having something like that, Phoenix, New Orleans, Milwaukee, Houston. All of these teams have 3 games, but they have both the Tuesday, Thursday high value, extra quality games, if you will. And then a lot of them have, I think in this whole group, they all end up playing Saturday. It's how the 3 games go. No back-to-backs. I like Boston's schedule. They've got 4 games overall for the week. One of the like high value things on Tuesday, they get to play the Lakers, but it is the second leg of a back-to-back. So I don't like them as much as say the Clippers that also have 4 games, 3 back-to-back. Their one high value though is Phoenix. It's Thursday, which there's even less games playing. But honestly, with 5 and 4 games, you're probably working in anyone you pick up. So I'm splitting hairs there, do my own ranking, but you can probably call them about equal. I'm a little less interested in the back-to-back from Boston to start the week, unless you're getting to pick someone up and then pivot and grab someone that's got the later half of the week. Like if you mashed these 2 together, you could get a like super, there's technically a 5-game week if you moved a Boston player and pick up a Clippers player. I'm not sure there's that many impact guys out there on the waiver to make that move though, but every league's different, especially in a shallower league. You can do something like that. To a lesser extent, I also like Washington here. 4-game week, 3 on the streaming days, none of the ultra low high value ones I'm talking about for the Tuesday, Thursday, but they also have that like end of the week back to back, and then carrying into next week they have that special day when there's only 2 games on that Thursday. So if you pick someone up, you get the 2 road games at the 2 LA teams to end this week, give you a little push, and then I think you can hang on to whoever that is carrying into week 10, which frees you up to make other roster moves. So I would give Washington a look at the end, depending on who you're cutting, obviously. But make a post-it note, put a reminder in your phone, something to pop up on Thursday or Friday, say, hey, go check the waiver wire. Is Denny Avgio? Is there, Rui? Is there someone out there that I want from Washington that I can throw in there? And I've got a couple Washington names when we talk about waiver wire in just a minute. All right, week 9 waiver wire. Let's get into it. I got a bunch of names I think are worth taking a look, and a couple guys I'm seeing transaction trends looking like they're a hot pickup that I want to throw a little cold water on it. Let's start with the good news, though. Jordan Goodwin for Washington. He's talking about how they've got a good schedule. Also, he's playing real well. He's getting some extra minutes. Look at this. 17-4, 6 steals. 19-4 and 3 with 5 steals. I don't expect the steal rates to keep up like that, but he also had 2 and 3 3-pointers in there. No bad percentages. Those are 2 really good games. They are a bit of an anomaly because if you look back before that, he had 4 and 4, 8 and 7, but it's the minutes that are different here. Washington's dealing with some injuries. Goodwin's getting some more play. I scooped him up. He's only 11% rostered. So basically anyone watching this, he's probably available in your league unless you're in a league with me and I already grabbed him. But he's available in 90% of leagues. I think he's helpful. Washington has 4 games, 3 on a good streaming day, and they've got a good schedule next week. If he keeps getting the minutes, I think you can pick him up, do like a mini stream here with him through the 2 weeks and be happy with it. If you reverse back to nothing, no harm, no foul. You didn't like trade for this. You just move on to somewhere else. Next on the list is Malik Beasley. I already said I like the Jazz schedule for this week, right? That's why I'm rocking the Jazz gear. He's been playing well here. 19-5 and 3 with 2 steals, 23-4, 1 with 2 steals, 4 3-pointers, 5 3-pointers. Solid percentages. There are off nights. If you look here back to December 3rd, is 3 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. But Utah's using him right now. They've got the good schedule. They play on both the really low volume days. They only have 3 games this week, which is less than some of the teams with 4, but all 3 are on high volume days. 58% rostered. So he's definitely out there in shallower leagues, but he's there for most leagues. He's there for about 40% of leagues. I'm surprised it's this low and that right now, according to my screenshot, it's trending down 7%. But by the end of the week, we won't be seeing that. Digging a little deeper, how about Caleb Martin for Miami? He's 42% rostered, so he's available in more than half of leagues. I don't think his numbers are going to wow you. 14-3, steal, assist, and a block. 17-8, 2 assists, 2 steals. But he's getting you some 3-pointers. Plug him in a power forward. He's getting plenty of minutes. We're talking, look at this, 36, 40, 32, 34. Solid minutes I think are good for a points league or category league. You plug him in for power forward, you'll get production. Are you going to be wowed? No. But Miami's got a good schedule. They've got 4 games, 3 of them on the good streaming days. Also, the matchups, Indiana, OKC, Houston, San Antonio, they're all on the road, but overall, you like those matchups. He might do real well. Next up, how about an old friend, Bogdan Bogdanovic? He's playing again for Atlanta. I don't know what you're going to get out of it, right? He just came back from injury. Last game, 31 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 7 3-pointers. That's a lot better than the game before, 9-2-1, but before that he had 17-3-1 with 5 3-pointers. I like him more in a points league than a category league, but if you're targeting 3-pointers, I think it's valuable. Atlanta's dealing with injuries, and he's getting these minutes 34, 25, 22. If the floor is 22 minutes and it's got some upward ceiling, I don't hate it. Atlanta doesn't have a great schedule this week. Only 3 games. First game streaming against Memphis. Otherwise, Orlando and Charlotte are on the high volume days. And he's 65% rostered. So it's not going to help a ton of people. But I wanted to bring up that he's back from injury because that makes a difference. It'd be a name you forgot about because you hadn't used him yet this season. Speaking of, let's take a quick pause. I want to talk about a couple other injury things. Sexton is out. He's going to be reevaluated next weekend, going into Christmas week, going into week 10 for a hamstring. Jakob Poeltl is still out with his knee bruise. I expect him to be back this week. They only had 2 games, so hopefully you didn't do what I did and leave him in your lineup. Expect him to be back, but there's no update yet, so hopefully he'll be there. Chris Paul did return this week. Halliburton was out very briefly and did come back this week. That was good news. And like I mentioned, Robert Williams, 83% rostered, expected back soon. So double check, just make sure he's not out there somehow. In a weekly lock league, he could actually be frustrating because I'm sure they're going to give him plenty of rest. They want him for the playoffs. But if you're in a standard like daily change league, Robert Williams could give you a lot of value. And I'm surprised he's out there in 17% of leagues. I mean, he's been hurt. Maybe they're all leagues with no injured spot. But if you scoop him up now and put him in your injured spot and wait for him to play into healthy, that could be really valuable. Back to my list, another Washington player. Denny Avdia is playing pretty well. Not amazing. Prefer for a points league, but he does get you a little bit of everything, right? 11, 6 and 6, 14, 9 and 4, 10, 5, 6 and 4. He's playing 39 to 40 minutes. There's rumors about Kyle Kuzma wanting a trade, and that's important because this week is kind of the opening of the NBA trade season. Could you make trades before? Yes, but as of December 15th, I believe, that's when anyone who was signed to a new contract, say John Wall with the Clippers, I don't think John Wall is moving. It's just a name I can think of that I know signed this offseason. You can move those guys after December 15th. So things are going to start shaking up, and you might want to consider that, whether it means people might have an uptick in value, as quickly get moved from the Knicks, or they get held out and you're missing games and you're not expecting, say, the Lakers. I've got a couple other names with that, but I think Denny's playing well right now. He's getting the minutes regardless of if there's a move there. And I'm not saying Denny's necessarily going to get moved. I don't know how much there is to the Kuzma trades, but it's possible that some stuff will start coming up. Either way, I think he's valuable for you now. And Washington's got a good schedule this week and an all right schedule next week. So give him a look. He's 25% rostered, so he's available in literally 3/4 of leagues. All right, time for me to be negative Nancy here a little bit. Jalen Duren, 35% rostered. He just jumped up 17% in the last day. I'm not sure I see it. I think it's fine. I don't want to poo-poo a rookie. I don't want to get down with Pistons fans, not just because I live in Michigan, but like they need some rays of hope. Otherwise, they'd be frustrating to watch like the Bulls. Anyway, Jalen Duren, 35% rostered. He's fine. 10 and 12, 12 and 13. But Detroit doesn't have a good schedule going here. They got 3 games, only one of them on a good streaming day. It's the last game of the week for Sunday. I think you can look other places to get him. I mean, other people I've seen, Walker Kessler getting floated around. He had 19% boost in ownership. He's 46% rostered. He started 2 games. Vanderbilt was sick. I think people jumped like, oh, he's running away with it and stuff. I'm not sure that's going to keep up, especially because this coming week, let's take a look at Utah's schedule. Pelicans, Milwaukee. For fantasy, I like that. But I don't know that I want to put a rookie big like Kessler in against Zion. You might just eat up fouls. Now, maybe I'm wrong and he gets extra minutes. Maybe they need him against JV. He's a blocking machine when you have him, and I think that's great. 46% rostered, though, is a little high for me, even though they have a good schedule. I like the player. If you're in a category league and want him for blocks, I think it's fine. Points league, I'd stay away. The 19% jump, though, I think was inflated because he started 2 games and people thought it was a real change, or they just saw, oh, he's starting now. Vanderbilt's already starting again. Things are reverting back to normal. Utah's not ready for that. And Vanderbilt is a good player, whether you're using him in fantasy or not. He can defend all over the floor. He's a Swiss Army knife type of guy. I really like him as a player. And so I don't think it's going to be easy for Kessler to just jump and take over his spot. So over either of these guys, I'd rather give Mo Wagner a look. He's playing a bit more for Orlando. Man, Orlando's fun to watch. I don't know how long they can keep this up. They're still being fun to watch, and losing games is like perfect for where that team is right now. But he's 46% roster. You can give him about half a leagues. He had 11, 4 and 2. Nothing to write home about, right, against Toronto. Clippers, 20 and 13 though, 19 and 12. I've added him in some leagues. He just jumped. He's 35%. The Magic don't have a great schedule here. They've got 3 games, only 1 good streaming day. But I think you might actually, if he can get in your lineup, I think you'd get more out of a move like Mo Wagner than you would out of Kessler, and Duran's schedule's not any better than this. So I'd rather something a little more solid if I'm like trying to make a long-term ad. I just need a big because, say, Jakob Pertl's out. You're trying to plug in for an injury. You just need another guy that's going to be all right and not hurt you anywhere. I think Mo Wagner's worth a look. Or if you don't need him to be center eligible, Kyle Anderson. I touched on him last week saying, hey, burnt me before. Now we've got a little sample size. Karl Anthony Towns is still going to be out for a little while. What did Slow Mo do this week? He had 14, 7, and 6. He had 15, 7, and 12. A steal in each of these games. No three-pointers. He's not a quick release shooter, right? There's a reason he's got the nickname Slow Mo. It's a movement, and he's just ball dominant, slow passing. But he's good percentages, too. 35% rostered. He's out there in a bunch of leagues. Minnesota's got 4 games this week. Either end on Monday or Sunday to start and end are good streaming days. But because Karl Anthony Towns is going to be out for a little while, you might get used if you keep, if you're looking for a 14 and 7, 15 and 7, and sometimes some extra assists, 6 and 12 assists these last couple games, that's really valuable, especially from your power forward spot in a category league. And then if you want to speculate, Austin Reeves, 17% rostered. I'm not recommending the pickup despite he just had a good game. 25, 2, 5 assists, 2 steals, 4 3-pointers. I like him more in points than category league because it's kind of scoring heavy and not a lot of other filler. It's all, kind of fluff. That said, if you think the Lakers are going to trade someone, throw Reeves on the watch list. I'm not saying he's necessarily moving, but if there's those couple days where they're sitting people, because like I said, December 15th, the trade market can open. That doesn't mean it's happening right then. But if you get a last minute announcement, oh, hey, this deal's happening with, Indiana, OKC, whatever the thoughts are, Washington, well then on a spot start, I like Reeves. I'm not saying pick him up for the whole week. I feel like I said that 3 times. You get what I'm saying. Put him on the watch list, and if you see a breaking news about the Lakers being in a deal, pick him up and play him that night and then move on. I think you have a good night. It'd be great for you for DFS. When he gets the minutes, he produces. You can see a direct correlation between 25, 2, and 5 is when he played 41 minutes. 22, 5, and 3 is when he played 35 minutes. He needs to get up into those 32, 35 minutes to have a really good game. That's when he's getting double digits of scoring stuff. Otherwise, he's just kind of getting jerked around with the roster, and you don't need him for the 5 and 3 nights or the 8 points and no rebounds. Other speculative trade guys, the rumors are out there. I mentioned people are saying, oh, Kuzma might want to get dealt. Rose quickly, Fournier, Reddish, basically any of the Knicks looking for something to boost up. Lakers supposedly, obviously, that's the talk. It's been the talk all offseason and everything. There might be a move there. Follow it, and we'll be excited, and I'll tweet it out. If you aren't following me on Twitter, hit me up there. If there's anything else on the waiver wire that you want to know about that I didn't mention, leave me in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter. Thank you so much for watching. Give a like, high five, whatever you do on whatever platform you're watching this on. Go out there and win your week. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. It helps me grow the channel. If you want more videos like this, hit subscribe or even the little bell will give you alerts. And I'll be back soon with another video for you.